Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Jason. I'm your watch guy today. If you don't know what this is about, then it probably means that you need to go and follow my Instagram page. The little pop-up should be around here somewhere now, so yeah, have a look. Go on, go follow it. Thank you. Today I am reviewing another Pagani Design. However, I am going to also be comparing it to the real deal. We all know that there's been a little bit of an uproar over the new Pagani Design Speedmaster model. Well, I have one in and I'm going to review that today. However, I think it'd be a massively missed opportunity for me not to compare it to its big brother. Now, this is my Grail watch. So obviously this Pagani Design has a lot to live up to. I'm not going to expect Swiss quality. I'm not going to expect Omega quality. This is a sub £100 watch at the end of the day. Actually in the sale, I think it's around £70 if you wanted to pick one up. I do have a link in the description. That's an affiliate link. It will take you to the Trendy Men's Watch Store. They have given me this watch, so please do keep that in mind throughout the review. If you would like to pick one up, I would really appreciate you using that link, and I really do appreciate them sending this in for review. Now, without further ado, let's turn this camera around and let's see how close or how far away these two watches are. I'd like to thank Watch Shop for sponsoring today's video. They have more than 150 brands available on their website, including some of my favourites, the likes of Tissot, Seiko, Hamilton, Rado, and of course, a channel favourite, Casio. So there's something for everyone on Watch Shop, which makes them #1 for brands. Now, when they asked me to sponsor this video, they gave me a Goliath of a task to feature to you some of their Black Friday deals. They asked me to pick 3 watches from their Black Friday deals that I thought were the best value for money. And so the search began. First of all, I picked out this absolutely fantastic G-Shock DW5610. We all know that the G-Shocks are an incredible do-anything type of line of watches. This one will be one of my favourites. I love the DW56 range. And at the price that they're offered, I think they're an absolute bargain for anyone who is a little bit active, a little bit outdoorsy. As well as this one, they also have plenty of others on the website in this sale. I also picked out the Casio Edifice EQS, the 800 CPB. Now this one has a fantastic solar movement, and that's what really drew me to it, as well as a really sporty type of design and how well it fits on wrist. That rubber band is absolutely fantastic on my wrist. Fits very well, and it's a nice sporty type of chronograph, and that solar movement really does tick the extra boxes for me. And finally, what list for brilliant value watches would be complete without a Seiko? This one is absolutely gorgeous. It's got some real dress potential, as well as having a little sporty look to it with that chronograph. Now, it's a Mecha Quartz chronograph. We all know that I like the Seiko Mecha Quartz range. And it's just absolutely gorgeous. The amount of detail that they packed into this watch is fantastic. Now, these are all available in the Watch Shop Black Friday sale, but as well as these amazing discounts that they are offering, they've also given us another code to use, which is BF30. If you use that, you can get an extra 30% off, which I think is fantastic. So thank you again to Watch Shop for sponsoring this video. Now, this is the Omega Speedmaster. It is probably one of the most iconic watches in the world, and I don't say that with any sort of doubt in my mind. It is the perfect simple chronograph. It is a manual wind watch. It has been famed for going to the moon, as well as saving astronauts' lives. It's, to me, it is the perfect one watch collection. If I could have only one watch in my collection, it would be this one. It's just the absolute epitome of watchmaking for me. The heritage in this watch is incredible. The design hasn't changed for decades, for half a century. It's just an incredible, incredible piece. And obviously, that type of watch with that type of price tag is going to attract homages. Now, that's fair. I've bought some in the past. This is Pagani's attempt on that homage. Now, this is a VK powered watch, and I've got some of them in my collection and I quite enjoy them. We had very, very high hopes for this piece when it was being released. I've been waiting for Pagani to do the Speedmaster Homage for a good year or so now, and a lot of us have asked for it, but with no avail. Now, I was stupidly excited for this watch. However, it's not lived up to expectations fully. So let's talk about the watch itself quickly. It is a 42mm in diameter watch. It is 47.8mm lug to lug. It's actually smaller lug to lug than the actual Speedmaster. It is 13.8mm thick. Again, slimmer in profile to that Speedmaster, and it has 20mm lugs. So you can swap this bracelet out for a lot of different options. There are some ways that this watch does differ from the Speedmaster. I'm just going to pop the Speedmaster over to one side quickly so it keeps out of the focus of the camera. The brushing on the case itself is actually quite nice. It's quite well done, and the polished edges, very good. The casing itself is actually pretty good. I'm very happy with it actually. Now, it is a screw down crown, which does differ from the Speedmaster. Quite a tight fitted one. We have the first position for the date and the second position for the handset. I'll just switch that around so you can see the logo there. Now, the beauty of a VK movement is that it has this mechanical chronograph function on the watch, and that really does give a nice premium effect to the chronograph, I think. Top pusher to start and stop, bottom pusher to reset, and that quick mechanical reset is a real nice function. The pushers and the crown actually sit a little bit lower than they would on the Speedmaster, and the crown is a bit more bulky. However, the rest of the casing is pretty much in line with the Speedmaster itself. Slightly shorter, lug to lug, thinner due to this crystal, I believe, but otherwise pretty much the same shaping. As we move to the back of the case, you can see that we have a really nice design on the case back. It is a little bit in line with the Snoopy itself. Obviously, this is a homage to the newer Snoopy anniversary, I think it is, and it does align quite well with that. We have the model number on the back there, the 1701. All the other usual information. I am glad that Pagani are starting to lean towards these decorated case backs instead of the usual display case backs. I think it's a better look, to be honest. We kind of got a bit sick of those display case backs in the end, didn't we? Another differing point of the Pagani is that we have a ceramic bezel insert. Now, it's in this really deep blue with white accents. The bezel on this one is quite a bit thicker than the Speedmaster itself. As you can see, it's actually noticeably thicker than the Speedmaster. I think that the bezel on this really does have a nice thin form. It doesn't take away from the design of the watch itself. However, on this one, it kind of makes a little bit more of a bulky type of feature of itself. I don't think they needed to make it thicker. I don't know if that had anything to do with costs of making the parts or anything like that, but they didn't really need that. Another thing to note is that this is a sapphire crystal insert on this one. We obviously have a Heslite on the Speedmaster. You can have a sapphire sandwich option. However, my personal favourite is the standard Heslite because that is more fitting to the Moon watch itself, the actual Moon watch. Another differing feature to this watch is that it is claimed to have 100 meters of water resistance. However, with these pushers, I don't quite know if I trust that. On the Pagani Design Daytona Homage, that also has 100 meters of water resistance. However, those pushers are screw down, so I do trust that a lot more. Now, on the Daytona model, I trust the water rating because it has screw down pushers on it, and obviously that will aid in water resistance. However, on this one, I don't believe it. If I'm completely honest, I just don't think it'll stand up to 100 meter water resistance. Now, 100 meters water resistance isn't actually really 100 meters. It's pretty much you can go into the water with it. I don't think this will last in the water, just like I don't think the Omega would last in the water. Now, moving past the casing and sapphire crystal on this watch, we move in to the dial itself. We have a white, sheer white dial on this piece with a sandwich dial effect for the subdials. The blue subdials should really match the outer bezel, but they don't. They are much brighter, much more vibrant than the bezel or the bezel insert itself. Now, up at the 12 o'clock, we have the Pagani Design logo, followed by Pagani Design chronograph, which is a nice touch because it does extend the logo a little bit. However, that's their own little twist on it, not something that you'll see on the Speedmaster, which is actually nice to see. We have batons throughout on the hour markers. They are blue tone in colour with a tiny little bit of lume on the top itself. Now, we have a minute track printed to the outer edge of the dial in blue again. In between the second or minute markers, we also have individual markers. Now, that would be for timing more precise calculations with this chronograph hand. The subdials have a vinyl effect to them on the inner circle, and they do have two levels, as you can see there. So they are quite prominent in nature. They do have a nice design to them. However, I do think they sit a little bit too low on the dial, almost like they're not a part of the dial, and that's kind of where it takes away the effect for me. Down between the 4 and the 5, we have a date window, which we would not see on a Speedmaster. This is due to the VK movement that we have placed in this watch that does have a date feature. Above the 6 o'clock either side, we have Japan movement. Now, the handset is very Speedmaster-esque. We do have a blue tone on the outer edge of this handset, which does go with the rest of the dial and colour options on this watch. We have a classic Speedmaster style chronograph hand up at 12 there, that you can see the arrowhead there, and a pencil handset to finish with stainless steel hands on the subdials. We have the second hand down here, 24-hour hand here, and the chronograph minutes over here. Now, I do think it'd probably be nice to see how the lume matches up on each of these. So let's get these lights out and we'll see what it looks like. Now, something that we often don't get to do with these Pagani lume shots is compare it to another watch. Now, to be honest, this isn't the worst Pagani lume that I've seen, but the handset is pretty poor. Look at that, Amiga. That's just fair. It's not fair. I'm going to put it out of the way. One thing that I do like is that they have loomed the dots either side of the 12 o'clock. I didn't see that on the Felida homage that I reviewed last year, so it is nice to see that. The lume isn't terrible. In person, it has pretty much completely faded now. Yeah, the lume is terrible. I lied. It is terrible. Absolutely terrible. The lume on the Amiga hasn't even budged from how luminescent it is. However, the Pagani is leaving a lot to be desired, as per usual, and I don't think that they've loomed enough of the dial itself. I don't think there's enough markings or marking space to loom. Yeah, a little bit of a letdown, again, from Pagani's loom. Now, obviously, that is a comparison between a Swiss-made luxury watch or entry luxury watch and a Chinese homage. So let's not, draw too many conclusions from that. However, the lume is pretty poor, as always on Pagani's. It's just something that we've come to expect now, unfortunately. As we move on to the bracelet, I do really like the bracelet on this. I think that it's probably one of the better ones Pagani have produced. It is a push pin bracelet, which is unusual for Pagani. However, it's pretty standard at this type of price range, so we'll let them off with that. Now we have double pushers at the clasp, the Pagani logo etched into the center. This is a milled clasp, which is nice to see at this price range. We have 3 levels of micro adjusts. Now this bracelet is actually really comfortable on wrist. We have female end links. However, one thing that I did notice when I unboxed this is how wobbly the end links are on this one, which is a shame. I think maybe it hasn't been fitted with the right size spring bar. Again, as I say, it's a shame. It really is a shame. Now, I do have quite a few moans for this one. In fact, I think this is the most amount of moans I've had on a Pagani for a good while. The subdials are way too recessed into the dial itself. As I say, it's a sandwich dial over a step down on the dial, which the Amiga is. I'll just show you the difference here. So as you can see on the Amiga, it is a small indent into the dial, and it gives it a 3D type of aesthetic without taking away from that simple, beautiful dial. And honestly, it brings the watch to life a little bit, that little tiny bit of recession in the dial. Whereas this is just a hole punch through the dial and a dial underneath for the sub dials. And it doesn't give me the same feeling, it doesn't give me the same wow factor at all, if I'm honest. The colour match for the bezel and the sub dials is completely off. The bezel itself is too thick in form. I think that it makes the watch look a lot chunkier. I don't know why they've done that. It's a bit of a weird one for me. The crown's too bulky, it takes away from the shaping of the case. And finally, we have misalignment at the 12 o'clock. You can see that the chronograph hand does not sit central, and the more I look at it, that 60 does come off to the side, I think. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't think I need to say more about that. The thing is, this watch sent me back £2,000, and that was a good deal. Obviously, this is my Grail watch, and for the £2,000 I paid, I honestly get that type of enjoyment back. Now, you'd probably think for the £70 that you'll pay for this, you'll probably get the enjoyment back, but I don't think I do. I just feel like it's left too much to be desired. I feel like it's too off the mark, unfortunately. Now, I do believe that they're going to be looking at a version 2 of this piece, which would be nice to see. I'd like to see the updates on it. However, if it's the same standard as this, it's just not the one, unfortunately, Pagani. It's just not the one. And if you are going to pick these up, please go for the black dial. It looks like the much better option between all three. I think, yeah, that's the one to go for. This one's too off with the colours. I think the black is the best option for everyone. The 90s bucket hat has gone, so be glad for that. Now, honestly, this was a little bit of an excuse for me to get my Amiga back on video, but it is very relevant because I was posed the question earlier this week, and I think it's a very interesting one. At what point does a homage not do it? What point do you just need the real thing? And I think in this case for me, I'd have probably needed the real thing even if I didn't have it at this point. It's just when it's that ultimate type of Grail, I think nothing's going to scratch the itch. Now, with my Submariner homages, I love them. I really do. Because I've never really been interested in owning a Submariner. I just don't think they are the right type of watch for me to value at the type of price that you have to pay for it. I think that they're a bit far off the mark. So a £60 Pagani really does do it for me. It's genuinely one of my favourite day-to-day watches. So I think it completely depends on the watch and the person. But for me, this one didn't do it. And I feel like it's going to be the same for a lot of people who have the same type of dream of that Amiga in their collection, unfortunately. However, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with the version 2. I probably am going to try and get one of those in just to see what the updates are like. Now, thank you for watching this video, guys. I really do appreciate it. Your support's been pretty amazing this past month and, well, forever to be fair. So thank you very much. I will be back with more videos this week, and I hope you're going to watch them too. So thank you, and I will see you in the next one.